All right, Dave. Let's stick with baseball. And we talked about the Aaron Judge and saying, hey, it's okay if Ohtani breaks his record. Aaron Judge last year, 62 home runs, the American League record, beating Roger Maris's mark. But the conversation always comes at last year, and some former players are like, Ohtani's the MVP every year, no matter what. And it didn't happen last year because Judge had a historic season, and he helped the Yankees win 99 games. And you played in the Bronx, and the pressure cooker and the fans, and the guy batted like 318 and almost had a triple crown. I mean, he had an unbelievable season. And let's be honest, last year, Ohtani, the Angels were out of it in May. And Dave, there's a difference between at-bats when you ain't playing for nothing, right? You can just kind of like do whatever you need to do where you're playing in games that matter on situational hitting. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to perform, but there's a difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But are you making comparison between Ohtani and...
I'm just saying, if you're out of the race in May, it ain't the same at-bats if you're trying to win a division.
Oh, well, yes. But you're also going to be playing in a lot of games in which your at-bats do matter. Like, I think they matter. It's just that obviously they matter more, especially in August and September when you're playing for something and every game is meaningful. Baseball and from mid-August on to the end of the season is some of the best baseball that you will find because every game now is becoming critical. If your team is already out of it, it's not the same,
right,
as when every game is important.
And here's the thing. Okay, so a couple weeks back they posed a question to general managers in baseball, and it was basically, who would you pick to start your team? Is it Ohtani or is it Judge? And I said it was Judge. I would pick Judge. People thought I was crazy. Ohtani, of course, pitches and hits. We haven't seen anybody do that since Babe Ruth, and that was in the 20s. I mean, it's a long time. But here's the reason why I picked Judge. I think he has more impact, and I think we're starting to see that more and more, where the Yankees are and how they're scuffling. That lineup, Dave, without Judge, it's just not the same. Like, when he's in that lineup, they're a team that can win 100 games and be a threat in the postseason. They're scuffling. They just lost 5 out of 6. They got swept by the Angels. They don't even have Mike Trout. They can't score. It's a difference. And that doesn't mean that Ohtani doesn't have impact as a pitcher and hitter. He does. But the Angels don't seem to be able to win regardless whether he's in the lineup or out of the lineup. That's the thing. I think Judge has a bigger impact on the players around him. Am I wrong, or help me out when I'm talking about the impacting other players? You notice you were in a lineup. If there's nobody to protect you, it's harder to play, harder to hit, harder to succeed. And if you have a lineup where there's guys protecting you, and I think Judge does that for the Yankees.
Okay, so let me look at it this way.
Yep.
Okay, so Judge, in my opinion, is playing on a better team than Ohtani.
That's fair.
Okay. Baseball is the one sport that I always say you can keep the best player from having a major impact in a game. I used to say it about Albert Pujols. I remember when he first signed his big deal with the Angels. I said, I can pitch around Albert Pujols. I can pitch around him for 4 at-bats, literally nullify anything he can do with that bat. And it helps me because I can put him on first base. It's going to take 2 hits to score him from first base because he's not scoring from first on a double.
No,
See?
Right.
So baseball is a sport. It's not like basketball where in the fourth quarter we can have Jordan shoot every time, or like football when we can go Montana to Rice every play. Baseball, your best hitter is in a rotation of 9, and he's coming around when he comes around. Oh, so Judge, the thing about Judge is one of those guys I call a difference maker. Difference makers are guys that when they're hot, they're hitting doubles and home runs, Rob. They're not hitting singles.
Right.
Those are difference makers. So when Judge is in the lineup, he can put up points quickly. He can put up runs quickly with one swing of the bat. But he also relaxes the other guys that are around him because they don't feel like they have to put more pressure on themselves in order to to kind of take up the slack from Judge being out. They can just relax and play. Ohtani to me is special. I would start it. I would start a team if it was those two. I would start with Ohtani.
I understand.
Here's the advantage, okay, is hitting is cyclical. You know, every hitter goes into slumps throughout the season. Okay.
What was your worst slump in your career? I know
Man,
you remember it because there was a time you couldn't buy it.
Hey, look, I think one time I was like 4 for 40 and was sitting there looking like, how did I get here?
Right.
4 for 40 seems like almost impossible to do.
Right.
But again, I don't care how great a hitter you are. There will be a time during the season in which you feel like you're swinging at M&Ms. You see me?
And then other times
like
it's a beach ball, right?
That is
what was your hottest? What was your hottest stretch? Can you remember?
No, I can't. Well, I tell you, no, I had a lot of hot streaks. I do remember my rookie year in August when I hit 11 home runs in 15 games.
Wow!
From the Braves trade Del Murphy, August 2nd.
Where did he get traded to? I don't
think it was the Phillies.
I can't remember.
He went to the Phillies.
Yeah, okay.
And that's when the Braves put me in right field. They took me off first base where I was just terrible.
You weren't a first baseman.
Not at all. Played one game in AAA at first. Next day, I'm in the big leagues playing first base. Scared to death. Strawberry, Eddie Murray. You know, I mean, all these guys hitting rockets. The guy we just talked about. Kirk Gibson.
Yeah, they hitting bullets down there.
Bullets at first. I mean, look, I'm used to being 300 feet away, not right there. So, but the Braves put me in right field, and from August the 3rd until October 3rd, I had 20 home runs with 50 RBIs.
Wow.
Hit like 335 and really won the Rookie of the Year in my last 2 months. That was as hot a streak as I could think in my career in a 2-month period.
That's a lot of home runs. You know that.
I mean, Cecil Fielder and I led Major League Baseball with most home runs in the second half of the season. And mine came in the last 2 months.
That's crazy.
So Ohtani, because he pitches, is giving you more value because even if he's not hitting, he can go out there and keep the other team from putting up runs, okay? The problem with Ohtani is he's just playing on a team, Rob, he's just not on a good team. But if you put him on a team with some ballers, with some players, he is a difference maker as well.
I agree, but the Judge argument is exactly that. That Yankee team with him not in the lineup is not a good team. That's not a playoff team. Would you agree with that?
Oh, but
without him,
I got you. But the Angels without Ohtani, even if they're not necessarily a good team, is going to be even a worse team.
I get it, but with Ohtani playing, they didn't make the playoffs last year. They had Ohtani and Trout.
Because baseball is that sport where you cannot get it done with just having one bad dude.
I understand
Baseball's that sport. Now, if Ohtani and Trout could come up and hit in the 7th and 8th and 9th, they got to be the two hitters in each inning. Now it's a difference.
But that's not how baseball is played.
That's not how baseball is played. Ohtani gets 4 at-bats. And if I got first base open, even though he's got the ability to steal a bag, if I got first base open, I can just put him on first.
Why do people pitch to him? And so I watch baseball all the time, and I can't get over. I'm just like, dude, I know there's a guy on first or whatever. I get it, but this is the guy who could beat me, and I'm a pitch to him anyway. I understand there's a competition, and you think your guy has the good stuff and you can get him. And I'm not saying you want to run away from competition, but there's times and circumstances where I would just say, just put him on.
And in those times, I'm sure they do. But got to remember. The percentages are in the pitcher's favor.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
To be great, you know this.
Listen,
you failed seven times.
I'm going to get you 7 times.
Right.
So I feel like I got the ability to get you right now, and I got 7 dudes behind me that's going to go get this ball too once you put it in play. You see, so I just believe that if I'm going to start, just getting back to what we originally said, if I'm going to start with a guy who can pitch and a guy who can hit that's dangerous as a batter, as opposed to a guy who just hits, I'm going with the guy that can pitch as well.
No.
They both mean it. I'll tell you what, if you take Judge and put Judge on the Angels and you take Ohtani and put him with the Yankees, do you think the Yankees are a better team?
No, I think they would be, but I'm saying
you think the Yankees would be a better team then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
And if Judge was with the Angels, do you think the Angels would automatically flip a switch and be a playoff team?
I want to feel like that because of when I look at this Yankee team without him. I don't think it's that good. Like they have some players. Don't get me wrong. Stanton, when he's hot, is a great player, but he's not hot all the time. I'm just talking about home run.
No, I wouldn't. Stanton is not one of the best players on the Yankees.
No. But I'm just saying.
Opinion.
Yeah, but I'm saying when you look at all the other players that are there, there's a lot of young guys, a lot of guys.
Yes.
I mean, most of those guys. Volpe is the rookie shortstop. He's batting under 200. I mean,
okay. Again, Judge is going to impact in a positive way any team that he plays for. Okay, because he's a difference maker. He's a guy that he's instant offense. When he comes to the plate, he's in, like they say, he's in scoring position when he comes to the plate. But if you take Judge and you put him over with the Angels, I don't think the Angels are necessarily a better team. But if you take Ohtani and put him with the Yankees and put him in that environment, see, it's tougher to play in meaningless games. It's not tough to play in games that mean something. Ohtani would be even better with the Yankees
if he was playing in something,
because he's playing in more impactful games.
All right.